Have you ever wanted to expand your life? Like you're so ready to shift, to change. You've like standing on the cliff's edge, ready to jump, whether you have a parachute or not. Check out today's episode where I teach you a really fun way to expand your life, whether you have a parachute or not. Let's go get that nugget. Welcome to Life Mastery for Women. I'm your host, Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Join me here 3 times a week for empowering conversations, powerful tools, and techniques to help you experience more joy, healing, and deeper connections in your life. Get ready, ladies. It's time to get that nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. Life is hard, but your personal growth doesn't have to be. Hey ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode where I hope I am finding you using your imagination. If you're not using your imagination, then it is my intention that in today's episode I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. So when I was younger, one of my favorite things to do was to use my imagination. You know, when you would tell kids to go play or and then you have a couple of kids, you're like, okay, let's play bakery or let's play haircut. That was a fun or bar or beauty parlor. That was fun for me. Let's play restaurant. Let's play house. These kids are practicing their future. And if you wanted to, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but trying on different jobs. They're going to be a firefighter. They're going to be a lawyer. They're going to be a teacher. That was totally mine. Setting up all my animals and my dolls in my room. And I had a little clipboard with, scrap sheets of paper on it. And I had everybody's name written down with a little square next to it. And I would, call out their names and who's here today? And Annabelle, are you here? And Kim, are you here? Angie, are you here? Right. And I was pretending. Right? I was a rock star. I was a basketball player. I was a speaker. I was, of course, a teacher. I was a football player. I was a rock climber. What else? It's like I was a famous baseball player. I mean, because I played a lot of sports, right? And using your imagination then tends to get shut off when you go into school. Stop using your imagination and get your head in the books. Get your head out of the clouds and get your head in the books. Get your head into the current reality, your current existence, your current environment. And then what did we start focusing on in our current environment? We start focusing on our problems. Well, I don't know about you, but focusing on my problems has gotten old, and I am ready to start looking towards the future, creating a new reality. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how you start to uncover, how you start to reignite. That's like my new favorite word. We went to this Miami retreat. And I was talking about, doing a women's retreat live and in person, like a 3.5 day fully immersive retreat where you're there and you're in person and you're out of your life. And we're just going to blast you with tools and techniques and methods and guided meditations and healings and belief release so you can leave feeling refreshed and you have new tools to use, new frameworks, new ways to rephrase your life and begin to shift your energy and start elevating one step at a time, one day at a time. When you work with energy, stuff starts moving quickly. Things really start shifting way faster than when you are in your life pushing things around. Just like I talk about in every episode, we are so engaged in our environment. And that is what we're always doing is we want to continue to manipulate the physical things that we see and feel and touch and taste and smell, right? We want to move those things around to conjure up that emotional state when you know what? The emotional state that you want so bad is right at the edge of your thinking. It is right at the edge of your thinking. So if you were to hang out with your kids, I know maybe you have little kids, is you go and get your 4-year-old daughter, your 4-year-old son, if you have one, right? And those kids that are really prime in their imagination, you go, let's go play. And you go in their room or you go in the playroom and you get out some toys. You're like, okay, what do you want to do? Oh, I know, Mom. Let's play house. Okay, who am I? You're going to be the mom. Okay, who are you? I'm going to be the dad, or I'm going to be the baby. And they got like a little kitchen set. And so they come home from work. Okay, where am I working? You're a lawyer. Okay, great. And then they like fit you with the clothes and they give you the briefcase, and then maybe they have a little tiny chef's hat on and they're going to be working in the kitchen and they're going to be making some meatloaf and some cut apples and a banana and some maybe mashed potatoes. And they're like making all of this stuff and they're like in it without any resistance. There's no resistance. They're just playing. They're just exploring. But the difference is that they are using their imagination to its fullest. Where you and I seem to just get capped. We don't use our imagination. We feel weird doing it. We stay in the present moment. We just push our environment around to try to make things happen. Well, I'm going to shift your awareness here and your perspective and encourage you and invite you to take off your reality hat, your current reality hat, take off your practicality hat and put on your imagination hat. Just for a second. Step out of your current reality, the things that you want to change, the things that upset you, the things that make you mad, the current problems and obstacles that you're facing in your life, and put your imagination hat on and do something different. Because we keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? That's Einstein's definition of insanity, is continue to do the same thing, the same actions to try to solve the problem and expecting a different result. And guess what? We keep getting the same thing. We're on the Ferris wheel of problems, right? We just keep going down and then we go up and then we go down and then right? So it's time to change something. So the first thing, remember your emotions are right at the edge of your thought. So if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you already heard me say that you can manage your thinking. You know, if we fall into the unconscious and we get into our environment and we are hypnotized by our senses, we get into this state of our body is just on autopilot and we are engaging and we're sleeping. We're sleepwalking, right? Those of us in the spiritual world, in the energy world, we just call it sleepwalking. So we want to get into that wakened state where you're present and you're awake and you're alert. And then you want to live on purpose from this space. You say, you know what thoughts would feel better? Instead of looking at my problem like this, I'm going to look at my problem over here and I'm going to go, what thoughts would feel better if I thunk them differently? Instead of focusing on my problems, let's focus on solution. Instead of focusing on being desperate or knocking myself down or not being very nice to myself, that I say something like, you know what? I'm going to encourage myself. I'm going to be patient with myself right now. I'm in a learning curve right now. I'm trying to figure things out. So I want to be more encouraging and less pessimistic. I'm going to be more optimistic in my life. I'm going to say, you know what, Jen, it's okay. We're going to figure this out. We're going to problem solve. We're going to meditate. We're going to go inward. We're going to tap into our intuition. And we're going to find the solution. So let's start with envisioning a new version of you. Let's start with you. Envision a new version of you. So take anything and everything about you and what do you love about yourself? And ask and do that. You know, you're in the quiet of your own room. You got maybe your journal or your notebook. You're listening to me, so you probably have your journal out and your color pencils. And you're like, you know what? What do I love about myself? And not in this ego way, but just this I'm really in alignment with this version of myself, and pull all of those things out. What do I really like about my personality? What do I like about the way I talk or the way I look or the way I dress, the things I say, the way I think, the ways that I solve problems, the bigger things about me that I'm in love with. Okay. And write those down. And then start to envision this person and now create this atmosphere, this environment. What would you love to do? And take the lid off. Don't put any buts at the end. Talk slow so your body doesn't have a chance to give you all the warnings. Like, oh my God, I'd love to travel, but I don't make enough money. But I don't have any time. But I have to have 12 people watch my house when I leave. What would you love to do? Now take that version of you, step into that role and start acting like that person, even in just the quiet of your house. If I was confident, if I was thin and fit, if I was rich and famous, if I was a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, a coach, an author, how would I act? What would I say? Pretend. Put yourself in a scene, in the quiet, in the privacy of your own room, and put yourself in a scene that says, you know what? If I was an author, I'm going to say, I'm going to go do a book signing. Oh, great. Okay. Get out your favorite pen, get out your pencils, work on your signature, pretend that people made a line. They came to the bookstore. They sat on the floor in front of you while you sat in the chair and you read a chapter of your book. And they just fell in love with you. And they were just so engrossed with what you were saying. And they were there to see you, to hear your words. And you're sitting there and you're like, this is amazing. And now we're going to sign some books. So if you bought a book, if you want to buy a book, here's some books, and you can go up to the counter and purchase your book, bring back the receipt so I know you bought it, and I'm going to sign it for you. And then they create a line, and they get in that line, and they're all sitting quietly, and they're just kind of talking amongst themselves like how great the book is and what parts that were their favorite, what characters they loved, and how they just loved what they read, and they loved you. And then they bring their book up and they set it on the table. You take your marker and you're like, okay, what can I write? And you go, to Lisa, love Jen, right? Or you can write, to Annabelle, with love, Lisa. I'm just going to give this book to my mom. She loves your writing, right? And away you go. And you say thank you, right? Whatever the thing is, create the scene and play it out. I'm going to encourage you to step fully with your physiology, your whole body, your whole being, and play this out. It's going to feel pretty awkward. It's going to feel pretty awkward at first, and it's going to feel like the most ridiculous thing you've ever done. But then if that does happen, if you do have the resistance, I want you to sit quietly for a minute, and I want you to go back in time to when you were 4, 5, 6 years old. What did you love doing? When your parents would say, go play, and you would play with your siblings, or even by yourself, or maybe with your close friend across the street, what did you play? And I want you to get into that space again. I want you to get into that space, that quiet space of when you used to use your imagination and what that was like for you. And get in there, find that playful space again. And I want you to be able to uncover and get comfortable with that, because this is a form of creation. This is a form of creation. You've heard me talk about when I was on the shed in our country home in a very, very small town in central Michigan. I graduated with 42 people. It's a very Catholic farm town, and there was, one school and one party store and one gas station and one KFC hall that we used to all play softball and baseball against each other, and one gym and one place and one. Very, very small town. And standing on the roof of our garage, our detached, kind of hanging out in the backyard garage. We just called it the shed. We didn't really use it as a garage. I guess we used it as a garage. We just didn't park the cars in there. And I remember climbing on top of there because I'm like a big time climber. I remember climbing on top of there and pacing, right? Walking back and forth on the shed, talking about whatever was going on in my life at the time, whatever situation was going on at school or sports or, happening at home or whatever. And I'm just pacing and talking. I'm talking to the cornfield. It seems ridiculous, right? But I'm using my imagination. I was probably 12 years old. And I stuck with that the whole time. I'm 50 years old and I use my imagination all the time. Sometimes I'd be a little embarrassed to say, and if you approached my house at times during the day when I'm here by myself and you were to walk in and be like, dude, I just heard you talking to somebody. I'd be like, yeah, it was myself. I talk to myself. It helps me sort out my problems. I became my best friend that way. I come up with great ideas and analogies and things to talk to you about on my podcast. And it keeps me centered and it keeps me grounded. It sounds weird, but it does. And I have developed this thing that some people might call crazy, but it kind of sorts out my thinking and my thoughts. But back then, when I was 12 years old, I was using my imagination. And in that moment, in those few moments that I did that, I became a speaker on stage. People, all these corn stalks or people that came to see me, and it wasn't like this ego thing. It was about whatever it was that I was delivering to them. That it was like this life-changing information. And that is sort of what I do. I haven't been on stage in a long time, but it is one of my favorite places to be. I love teaching. I love talking. I love sharing part of my story in hopes to inspire you, in hopes to inspire anybody who's out there that might be listening to my podcast to be like, you know what? She can do it. I can do it. Because that's it, really. Is making the decision. I'm going to use these tools. I want to meet with her. I want to have that encouragement, and I want to be empowered in my life. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. And I just want to empower women to know wherever you're stuck in your life right now, you don't have to stay there. You really don't. There's so many ways to get out of that situation, and one way to get out is by going inward and start clearing the gunk that's inside. So using your imagination. Now, going out and playing and stepping into that full version of you and creating the scene of the thing that you want to create, that's a big way to do it, and that's a big thing to do, to use your imagination and to create that thing that you really want to experience. Think about, let's say, okay, hey, you know what? In 2 weeks, we're going to go on vacation and we're going to go to Jamaica and we're going to take a cruise and we're going to go all over the Caribbean and we're going to have so much fun and so much food and all this great stuff and dancing and music and entertainment. You're going to start imagining what that would be like. So the next part, the first is to really fully embody and get in it and pretend, right? And to really engage and get your body all into that space. The next is to visualize. Using your imagination. If I said we're going on vacation and I started to tell you all these points of attraction that we're going to go see, you're starting to picture in your mind. Then therefore, as you picture that in your mind and yourself going through that experience, you start to feel it in your body and you start to feel excitement. So I want you to visualize something. Take your time, find anything, do anything, could be really small, and create a scene of you experiencing that thing, so much so that you get a physical sensation in your body. Now, your goal is to hold that as much as you can for as long as you can. Create it more, go deeper. Really shut out the outside world and bring your imagination inward. And it's such an amazing thing when you can use your thinking, certain thoughts, certain pictures and images in your head to create an emotional state. Dude, that's manifesting. That's magic, is what that is. Using my thoughts on purpose, with purpose, and thinking about a scene, some words, some people, some action, add color, and creating an emotional state. That takes some practice, but it is a really fun experience. And then to sit back and go, I'm sitting on my couch in my living room. It's 2:00 in the afternoon on a Monday. And I just spent some time thinking about, this vacation or thinking about my new home or my new job or my new career or a new relationship. And I'm like, you know what? Feel this in my body. Like my heart is open. And I did that on purpose. So many times people say, your emotions get the best of you. You can't control your emotions. You can. You actually can. Indirectly through your thinking. And it takes a lot of practice, but it is something that you can do. The next is to journal, is to get out a journal, get some colored pencils, draw some pictures, use some colors. And it's all the same process, whether you're moving your physical body or you're just thinking and visualizing something, or now you're writing something down, is using your thoughts to create an emotional state. Whether you move it physically and use your physiology to stand up tall, push your chest out, put your shoulders back, bring your chin up and just look to the sky. It's going to create a whole new difference in your emotional state than if you were to shuffle your feet, walk slow, look to the ground, drag your knuckles on the ground, talk really slow. That's a whole different energy, isn't it? Well, we are creating an energy-rich state. We are creating an elevated emotional state. Because I don't know about you, I want to feel amazing every single day of my life. And I have couple of areas that I'm working on that I just want to lock into place. And I need to use my imagination because I need to communicate with the universe what I want to experience. And the way I can do that is by my physiology and the words I'm using, and by moving my actual body, then by using my thinking and my visual faculties to be able to visualize a scene that I want to experience. And then lastly, writing it down, putting it in a journal, drawing it on a piece of paper. Using my physical body to create something on a piece of paper that says, I'm going to, make 6-figure income, and I'm going to be a coach and a consultant. I'm going to have a women's retreat, and I'm going to go on stage, and I'm going to have my own, this great business that's really successful. I'm going to really help all of these women step into this role of being completely empowered, where I'm going to teach you how to balance your chakras. I'm going to teach you how to meditate. I'm going to teach you how to go inward. I'm going to teach you how to release that past pain and emotional baggage, negative self-talk and limiting beliefs that are holding you back, so you can start cutting the sandbags off your hot air balloon and start soaring. So if this is something that you would like help with, I have a women's retreat that is coming up. I don't have the dates yet, but I'm starting to find out if there's an interest out there. If this is something that you're interested in, working with me or getting more support, please reach out to me at themeditationroomtc@gmail.com and say, hey, Jen Mac, dude, I want to figure out what you got going on and I want to work with you. I hope you do, and I hope to see you soon. In the meantime, keep going, keep growing, and keep transforming. And I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to like, subscribe, and leave a comment as to how this has inspired you. If you're interested in learning about our Lady Leaders Retreat and to join a community of women who connect, heal, and create a life that is full of joy, inspiration, and empowerment, then send me an email at themeditationroomtc@gmail.com. Subject line, let's talk. And I will set up a time for us to have a conversation. And in the meantime, keep going, growing, and transforming, and keep looking for those nuggets of inspiration.